Hello, my little bear cubs. Welcome back. I know it's been like 3 weeks since I've uploaded a video. Wow, I just destroyed the allure of what I was going for in this video. Anyways, some shit's been going down in my home state. We are on fire, and I had to help my boyfriend move out of a fire path, so I've been a little busy with that, and it's just been busy, right? I haven't had time to upload. I've filmed 3 videos and catastrophe struck on all 3 of them. That's neither here nor there. It's getting spooky month. We are close to Ookie Bookie Megalamookie Ding Dang Ookie. I'll put Alyssa Edwards in here. She says it best.
Back rolls.
Yeah, it's spooky boy month. By the way, if you hear a whirring in the background, it's my air purifier running. The air smells and tastes like a campfire, and it's been raining ash. So I live in a horror movie right now. Speaking of horror movies, I'm just going to be doing some makeup-y stuff today, and I'm going to be reading some ghost stories while I do that. Now, I do have my monitor off to the side here. I know y'all can't see it. Y'all aren't going to see it. So I'm going to be looking that way most of the time while doing my makeup. So it's going to be at like a side view. Y'all, it'll be fine. I have some ambiance here. I have some dead flowers here. I don't know if you can even tell that on camera, but these are dried roses that I've kept for years. Tell them hi. I have a candle burning over here, which you can't see either. Candle burning. I love how I'm burning a candle while talking about my state being on fire. This is already a mess. I'm gonna get to it. Now, the first story we're going to be reading is called How It Broke My Cousin's Toes. Before we do that, I'm gonna prime my face. Oh yeah, since I'm really bad at this, I'll take this time to ask y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. It'd mean a lot to me. And I'm just going to list the products I used down below, because I'm not really going to talk about what I'm doing today. I'm just going to show y'all. This is How It Broke My Cousin's Toes by Pack Scary on r/Ghost Stories. My grand's house is really old. The oldest part of the house is built in 1755. When I say the oldest part, I mean it started as a tiny one-room house and then was added onto. This place was used for a hospital during the Civil War, and the field in front of the house was actually a battlefield in the Civil War. I have some creepy stories about that field if y'all are interested in. But in this house, especially in the bathroom, there's a feeling like something is there. We joke about it and call it Pedro for some reason. It doesn't give off an evil vibe, just a presence. And in the bathroom closet, it's way worse. When you turn right, the direction, into the bathroom on the left is a wall vanity sink with an oval mirror above it. This is important later. And across from the mirror is the creepy closet. This closet is big. Imagine an old walk-in closet with no door filled with cleaning supplies. If you're standing at the sink and looking in the mirror, the closet will be right behind you, so you can see right into the damn thing. The closet in the bathroom has always creeped me out, so I never go in there alone. So back to the story. We had both just gotten dressed for bed, and I was rummaging through my backpack for some deodorant. I knew I packed it and it wasn't in my backpack. I know that I packed it, and I know that it wasn't in there. So somebody must have taken it. It was zipped all the way up. I checked in all the pockets and emptied them out. There was no sign of the deodorant, so we decided to go look for some. We went into the creepy closet bathroom, and we were both looking through the drawers of the vanity for some deodorant. So we sat down on the floor next to the vanity. I faced the door and she faced me. Well, for some reason, Lizzie grabbed some Febreze for me to use. Well, she's like joke spraying it, and so I jokingly say, "Pedro, I am me," because we joke about that all the time. Well, immediately there's a bang from the dark depths of the closet. I remember we both look at each other. I could see the sheer terror in her eyes. I could feel the energy right next to me in the closet. I could feel it moving towards me and coming out of the closet. It's like my legs were working on their own. The only thing I could think was, "Go, go, go!" I thundered into the kitchen, pale-faced, shaking and blubbering about the man. Gran shot up and asked me what was wrong, when we both turned around to see Lizzie trip on air and smash her foot right into the thick, 100-year-old door frame. She was sitting on the floor wincing in pain, rocking back and forth, holding her foot, but she wasn't crying. I've broken toes before and I definitely cried. The rest of the night she put ice on it and we fell asleep, but she didn't go into the bathroom for the rest of the time we spent there. The funniest thing is, when I was getting all my stuff together and packing up my bag, I saw the blue deodorant sitting right on top of my bag. I asked everybody in the house if they put it there, and they said no one had. Well, that's an interesting story. A little mischievous bathroom ghost. That's what I call myself sometimes. I'm just gonna finish putting this layer of shadow down before moving on to the next story. Ooh, this next one sounds interesting. My grandmother opened a portal to hell and cursed all the women in my family. Oh my god, who else can relate? Me. This story makes me so nervous telling. I feel like I'm exposing my darkness every time I talk about it. My grandmother invited possibly the devil himself into our home and brought a curse onto all of the females in our family after her. I've always wondered if this was the reason for all the misfortune in my life, and why every home I've lived in, something has followed. Let me start from the beginning. All of what I'm about to tell you are accounts of my mother and the daughters of my great-grandmother, which are my grandmother, my mom's mom, her sister, my great-aunt. For as long as my grandma and aunt can remember, my great-grandma had a crystal ball, a Ouija board, and a pendulum all on her den table. Same. You ain't special, Grandma. Watch me just get fucking cursed. Like, just the Tumblr witches are after me again. I'm gonna offend some witch somewhere in the comment, and they're like actually gonna come for me, and it'll be fucking great. A witch hexed my family? Not clickbait exposed? Where was I? My great-grandma had a crystal ball, a Ouija board, and a pendulum all on her den table. She was a bruja, witch in Spanish. She would hold seances, and pregnant women would come over to determine the sex of their babies. Over 100 pregnant women came for her services, and out of those 100, she was never wrong. They all had what she said they would. She charged $2 for this. The year was 1967. My grandmother was 14, and my great-aunt was 13. They were wild girls who liked to go out with boys, skip school, and come home late after partying. Throughout the years, my great-aunt, who was the main target of my great-grandmother's mischief, experienced several strange phenomena linked to my great-grandmother, from a white veil coming down from the sky, almost suffocating her after my great-grandma found out she lost her virginity, to a black coffin appearing on my great-grandmother's porch when my great-grandmother got mad at my aunt for not answering the phone for her. That seems like a bit of an overkill, but alright. Sure, Grandma. Gee, thanks, Mom. Summoning the immortal legions of hell because I didn't answer your phone. Little bit of an overreaction? Tiny bit? No? Alright. There are other many strange things, but those are very odd and unexplainable. However, none of the small accounts would compare to the night when my great-grandmother went from doing a little bit of, just a little magic, just a little bit of magic, to a full-on invitation of darkness itself into her home. Now we're getting some. One summer night in 1967, my grandmother and great-aunt came home at 2 a.m., drunk and loudly giggling and stumbling into the home. When coming in, my great-grandma was sitting in her den waiting for them. She was furious, but they laughed and told her just to go back to bed and get over it. Outraged and feeling like she had no other way of controlling her daughters, she fell to her knees and began praying aloud to the devil himself for him to teach her daughters a lesson and make them behave. Grandma. Grandma! Wow. They didn't take her seriously, mocking her as they stumbled to the bedroom they shared and began changing into their night dresses, getting into their side-by-side beds, quickly falling asleep. 3 a.m. approached. An hour went by. My great-aunt began hearing my great-grandmother's brother, who lived with them, coming down the hall, which was odd because his bedroom was on the other side of the house, and there was no reason for him to be in the hallway. Girl, you're in danger. She knew it was him because he suffered a stroke and one of his legs dragged behind him. So she heard him coming, a footstep and a drag, over and over until he was outside of their open bedroom door. Creepy. Laying on her side, with her back turned to the door, she called out, "Tio, what's wrong? Do you need something?" No response. She tries to turn around and sit up, but realizes she can't move. A sense of pure evil filled the pitch-black room. Panicking now, she suffers for almost 30 minutes, paralyzed as she feels something standing right behind her, knowing fully well it wasn't her Tio. It was something malicious. She began to feel her covers slowly pull off her body, and her nightgown began to be pulled up, stopping at her shoulders. A quick slap to her back and immense burning pain. She jolted to life and was able to move again, bursting into tears as she jumped out of bed. My great aunt, now in hysterics, starts trying to wake up my sleeping grandma next to her. She awakes and instantly starts freaking out and uncontrollable crying as well. The whole time this was happening to my great aunt, my grandmother was having a dream that she had died and went to hell. In her dream, which was only about an hour, she spent years in hell suffering. They held each other tightly, but my great aunt's back was hurting her so bad. After telling my sister of her experience, she shows her back to my grandma, and on her back was a burn-like lesion in the shape of a goat hoof, with 3 distinct finger-like marks. As if they couldn't be more traumatized by the experience they both had. The mark was all the validation that they needed that this was real. Calming down now, my great-grandmother all of a sudden bursts into their room, starting them with a loud, menacing laugh. She then spoke the craziest thing. She said, "Oh, my poor girls, did something scare you?" After that day, the house never felt the same. Even if you had all the windows open or all the lights on, it felt dark. Doors would slam, locks would flick back and forth, the kitchen drawers would open and the silverware would fly out. Even late at night, the piano would play by itself. The house began to rot and fall apart. It stayed in the family until recently when my great aunt, who had inherited the house after my great grandmother passed away, fixed it up to sold it to somebody unknowing of all of this. My great aunt didn't want to own that house, much less live in it, knowing what was there and the events that took place. I mean, how can she forget? She has a hoof-shaped scar on her back to this very day. You see, it should have ended with my great aunt and my grandmother, but when she prayed to whatever it was that answered her, she had asked it to teach her daughters a lesson. That means every daughter in the family. We've all had terrible relationships with our mothers, and unexplained things happen to us, from bad luck to paranormal activity. So if you ever move to the center of New Mexico, be careful, because you might be moving into a home with a 40-year-old curse and portal to hell. And that was r/ghost stories. My grandmother opened a portal to hell and cursed all the women in my family by Alicia Nodell. So that was interesting. Like a gross overreaction. Like, oh my god, I can't control my rambunctious daughters. But do you know who could? The devil. So that was interesting. We're probably gonna have time for 1 or 2 more. I finished off my eyes. I've just deepened them up with black, added black on the inner and outer corner. And now, I'm gonna take, this is, ooh. I'm gonna take rose gold. Hello? Hello? Rose gold, this one here. It's an ABH shimmer. It's really good though. I'm actually, fuck a brush. Actually, no. It's kind of flaky, but it's like metallic. Ooh, yeah. And I'm kind of like patting it on and then like flicking it from the outer parts inward so it gets a good diffusion across the eye. Ooh, that is pretty. I'll have to bring y'all in closer in a second so you can see it, because that is a pretty shade. Oof. Oof. That is gorgeous. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm going to move on to a little concealer, and we're going to read our next story. This is going to be the Inglot Cream Concealer in 64. I'm actually just trying these out. It's really interesting. It's almost a little bit of a color correcting concealer. It's on the yellowy side. And then I'm gonna smoke out my lower lash line. Give me a sponsorship, Bubbly. This next story on r/go stories, I don't know what it was, but I'll never forget. By Abby DeCrabby. Shall we begin? I was about 7 or 8 years old when I experienced this. I'm 14 now, but it still haunts me in my dream. I woke up at 2 a.m. terrified because I had a nightmare. I was crying nonstop because in my dreams there was a tall black man with plain white eyeballs. In my dreams, he just kept staring at me. So I said hello, and he said he'll eat my heart, and he jumped at me, strangling me. I woke up with my neck in pain and red marks on my necks, as if somebody was strangling me. I got out of bed in my Dora the Explorer PJs and walked towards the door, which was closed, even though I went to sleep with my door open, and was just about to open the door when I heard a male's voice call out, "Abigail." He said it in an eerie and terrifying voice. He waited 10 more seconds and said, "Abigail, don't you want to play with me? We can be best buddies." He then opened his eyes and it showed the plain white eyes, just like in my dreams. He did a back bend and started crawling towards me. I screamed, but nobody heard me. I opened the door to run into my mom and dad's room, but when I opened the door, he was standing there. He was about 7 feet tall. "Wrong choice, Abigail," he said. "Now I'll have to eat your heart." He opened his mouth, showing huge teeth, but suddenly my dad walked out of his room and the 7-foot-tall man disappeared. Apparently that was 4 hours long. I was terrified, so I ran and hugged my dad. I never saw the man again after that. Yeah, that'd scare the shit out of me if I were a child. The next story we're reading is called "I've Suspected My Workplace is Haunted." That is going to be by Beanie Bear 94. Spooky names tonight. I'm gonna smoke out my lash line with some burnt orange. I have long suspected my workplace is haunted, but my boss confirmed it today. Oh, okay. I'm a toddler teacher. The classroom I took over last year has a heaviness about it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. For a while, I was the only teacher in the room. At nap time, I'd hear footsteps in the corner when the kids were asleep, and I was sitting down. One day I was sitting down, putting a kid to sleep with my back to the door. I hear footsteps and thought, oh, it's my assistant. Then stopped and I felt a hand on my shoulder, and still assuming it's my assistant. I ask her a question. Turn around, there was no one in the room. My assistant came in 10 minutes later and asked if she had been there 10 minutes ago. She has said no. Today, my boss and I got into a discussion regarding ghosts, and she informed me that she'd has things moved around, such as chairs and trash cans, while she was the only one in the building. She then told me it has favorite rooms. I then informed her that I'd tell whatever it is that we can coexist if it doesn't hurt us. That'd be an interesting one, getting your kid back from pre-K. Mommy, there's a dead man in our classroom. Okay. We're gonna have a talk with your teacher. And then the teacher's like, yeah, no, there's a dead man in our room. And they're just like, okay. Nobody wins in that situation. So I think that about finishes up the eyes. Let's move on to the face. I'm just gonna take the Nyx Born to Glow. Trying to use this up as well. I actually like this foundation. It's a little more matte than I would like it to be though, for being glowy. But hey, nobody's perfect. This next story is titled A Kiss at Midnight by Snoo Muffins 4120. Horrifying names tonight, truly. So it was about 11:50 on a school night when I was in the 4th grade and listening to music on my computer when I decided to go to bed. Fuck you, kid. 11:50 on a school night and you were in the 4th grade with a computer? Who are you? Wow. I believe in most superstitions and the supernatural, and I have experienced different encounters. But I was in my room in my loft, and I shut my eyes and cuddled in my bed, turned to my side, and from the edge of my bed, I hear my door open and running footsteps. Then I think I heard somebody jump and give a kiss on my forehead. Then I heard a jump off and feet running. I kept my eyes closed because I was so scared. I ran into my mom and stepdad's room and they were both snoring and asleep. I woke them up and frantically told them what happened. I asked my stepdad James if he did it. He said no. I believed them and they set me to sleep on their floor for the next 3 weeks. When I went back to my room, I slept on the flooring, watching my door and closet. But my mom told me a little while later that 2 weeks before that happened, she woke up in the middle of the night in my room. Me and my little brother share a room. And she said in the doorway, she saw a man with blonde hair and garish clothing looking at her. When she blinked, it went away. I have no idea what happened that night, but I'm glad we moved. Yeah, a man with garish clothing, I'm glad you moved too. Okay, moving on. I'm just going to powder my face using some of the Inglot HD powders. These are gently shimmery. I'd compare them to the Hourglass powders. So I'm just gonna take that and I'm just gonna gently use it to set my face. I'm not using a lot, I'm just a teensy bit using it to gently set. And now for contour, I'm going to be using the Inglot HD face powders. Wow, that looks mahogany red. It is not, I can promise you. Can you focus, you little bastard? Gonna be using this one, it's the lightest. And just to keep theme with spooky things, I'm really gonna cut my face up. Just going to take a finishing brush and I'm gonna soften that a little bit. It looks really wild on camera, but it's really not in person, which is bizarre, but you know, these things happen. I'm gonna take the Cover FX blush in Sweet Mulberry. Really digging this one. Oh, that was a lot and a mistake. Holy fucking Christ. You know when you don't think something's gonna be... Like, you think you got enough off the brush, but you didn't? Yeah, that's what just happened. Jesus. Okay, well, not doing that again. As I do it again. Kinda did it again, fuck. Gonna take that finishing brush again and soften up the blush a little bit, because that was a lot. I'm also gonna take the finishing brush, because I guess too much is not enough. Taking the shimmery blush, and this one doesn't actually have a lot of pigment, but it's just a nice, like, gentle sheen. So I'm gonna use that and I'm just gonna top the blush with it. Because I think it looks nice. Because we can be dead and pretty, okay? Gonna hit a little bit of that on the nosy. Not really gonna contour my nose because I don't feel like it, so I'm just kind of hitting it with some of that blush. Yes, I know this is supposed to be a horror story thing, but I think 4 stories is enough for tonight. And I'm almost done with this anyway, so, you know. Yes, I'm blushing my temples as well. I think I'm just going to... Hello? Focus? Hello? I'm just going to run some brow gel through my brows because the boys are coming in pretty thick right now. I am just going to get some lashes and lips on, and I will be right back. Alright, I got lashes on, I got lipstick on. I thought black was a very appropriate choice for this look. Now, what narcissist's favorite pastime, known as a YouTube video, wouldn't be complete without highlighter? Luna by Luna in Calypso, big, egregiously giant fan brush. I don't know if the camera's been in focus at all, to be frank, so whatever, we're just gonna... Ooh, that is a really good highlighter though, goddamn. It's glistening, darling, glistening. A little on the edge there, so I can just do the tip of my nose. Yeah. Oh yeah, I just put a beacon on my nose for no reason. Alright, cool. And here we have the final look. Not exactly what I think a lot of you were thinking of. Alright guys, here we are, a little closer. So you can see, I did go a little bit overboard with the blush. Tiny bit. But yeah, I really like the look. I hope you guys like this video. I'm still trying to like kind of nail down what I'm doing with these types of videos. Somebody else in one of my last videos suggested doing like a back to basics on special effects. I'd love to do that. I couldn't do that today. I didn't have the heart for it. I spent 10 hours in a fire zone yesterday dying. I'm just now like kind of getting my voice back. I know I sound fine now, but when I woke up this morning, I was talking like this. Like I sound like Marge Simpson's sisters. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe down below, it'd mean a lot to me. Colton BearScareBeauty, same way it's spelled here on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. It'd mean a lot. Keep on watching, guys, and hopefully y'all have a happy Halloween. I love you, have a good day. Bye. Narcissistic montage time. Okay, no, but take a fucking look at these goddamn eyes. Focus.